I think
Yeah, they're not adults.
right,
Just to be clear, they're not, right?
right,
14 is not an adult by
mm,
definition. He's not. I don't, if if I had more time to prepare, I would have like then maybe we could have gotten to the bottom of like what's the legal criteria for when you're even able to try someone as an adult, or like what's the best practices for when you do choose to
right.
try someone as an adult to know like does this circumstance fit the other circumstances like historically based on precedents for when you try someone as an adult. So I
Right.
get that. He's not an adult. So, but if you are going to try someone as an adult, premeditated mass murder seemed like
Absolutely.
a good time to do
Absolutely.
it.
And you're right. Like I did some research. I did some research as it relates to the issue maybe like 2 days ago, just randomly when I came across a video like this, and I was like, I looked it up, and Georgia starts to try children at the age of 14 uh, for specified crimes. So, like at the age of 14 in the state of Georgia, you can be tried as an adult for a specific crime. So, if he would have been 13, he wouldn't have been eligible to be tried as an adult in the state of Georgia. If he would have been 13 in the state of Ohio, he wouldn't have been eligible to be tried as an adult.
Oh, so he just meets the criteria for
Yeah,
being able to be.
he just met the criteria, and which is to me it's a reasonable argument that actually goes against Mark in this situation because like now like I said it's
Like, what do you
similar
want
to
to
abortion.
you want to have an exclusion for this guy? Like,
Oh,
even though he meets
right,
the criteria, like for some reason we can't get him, but then we did get
right,
probably some other kids.
right, and just like you said, disproportionately, there's a lot of 14-year-old black kids, and I'm sure that were
They
affected
stole
by
a
that
candy
law.
bar. Be trying you as an adult. You're like,
Right. It's like, I'm pretty sure you can find multiple examples of 14-year-olds in Georgia who did not benefit from that. So I understand, and like to his point, maybe you want to be consistent to protect those black 14-year-olds and this white 14-year-old. But and to me, it's a slippery conversation because I understand that children are not adults, and to assess or to put the same value on both, I think is
I'll put a similar value on both, but I think that's because I respect kids more than everybody
yeah,
else.
and I think that's reasonable. And like to me, again, to me, I think you do both. Like to me, I don't think if child laws allow for this so easily, then I think you make laws like this more stricter, especially in a climate where teens are committing acts like this. It's just like I think that's the first thing that we should do. It's like really the first thing that tells me to do is that like it's scary, just like you said. So now all 13-year-olds I'm gonna be looking at with a side eye.
Free,
Like
they free,
you
right?
know what
And
I
it's
mean?
like
Like,
imagine this. Like, imagine like forget modern society. Imagine it's 10,000 years ago. We hunter gatherers. You got this kid walking up with a whatever weapon they had at the time, a spear or something, and he's just killing a bunch of people. Like, oh, he's a child. No, I'm taking that dude out. He's
absolutely.
getting taken out, and
Absolutely.
I ain't gonna be like, oh, I just hurt a child. No, like that's a
Absolutely.
dude that is, he's young, but like he's still, you know, a male and has strength and is capable and is executing literally his
Absolutely.
plan. I'm like,
Absolutely.
yeah, he getting taken out, and I ain't gonna shed a tear about it. Right now,
Yep.
now if he was like 4, sure, I ain't gonna get to a 4-year-old, but this 14-year-old dude, like, I ain't got no
Sympathy.
native sympathy. No,
I
no,
get it.
this is it's a technicality. I know he's young, but yeah, he doing stuff like that, man. My sympathy starts to dry up
Yeah.
pretty quick. But maybe that's the bloodlust he's talking about. Maybe I am the example of the bloodlust he's talking about. So unless you got something else to say, we can see let him elaborate.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair to let him go.
The thing that people are applauding right now. They're also applauding that the father was arrested and that he's being charged. But the idea of charging a 14-year-old.
So
That's
I'm not a fan of
interesting.
charging the father.
I was just about.
I'm not a fan of that. It's like
I said
it's
interesting.
like the dad didn't shoot anybody, especially with murder. You're charging him with murder. It's like he didn't
Yeah.
like
Every
the
count.
worst you could charge him with is like, I mean, I don't know what the charge is, but like maybe he could have secured the guns better. But here's the thing, and I was just talking to my wife about this. 14-year-olds are not stupid. Like these people are, it's almost like I feel like it's almost like when people compare men and women, they're like, oh, women are so weak. It's like, I mean, they ain't that weak. Like a woman can still take you out if she wanted to. Like,
Oh,
they're weaker than
oh
us,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
ain't that weak. So
No,
same
no,
thing.
no.
Children may not be as smart as we are, but they ain't that stupid.
But they're
Like, if
capable too.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. If I say, hey, Carlos, go to their house as 14-year-old, figure out how to find a gun in there, right? Unless they got like even if it's a key, you might be able to find the key, right? If it's a password, you might be able to, figure out what their password. Look up their common, look up their birth date, look at their, maybe their other passwords if you live with them. Like a 14-year-old who lives with you, right? Who's smart might be able to find out how to get the gun.
Oh yeah,
And
for
it,
sure.
yeah. So it's like, is that really the dad's fault? It
It,
depends on how negligent he was, maybe. Like, is
right.
it just laying around anywhere? But like, to be honest, my dad, after talking to him, he was like, he kept the gun out, and it was like, I think it was like top of the refrigerator or something like that. But he told me, he was like, hey, don't mess with guns. You ain't allowed to mess with guns. And he probably knew me well enough to knew I was going to listen, right? And I'm not stupid enough to go around playing with guns anyway. But his kid, maybe ain't the same. So,
Well, he in this situation in particular, he bought the gun for his son, and this
but
is a
a
14
lot
year
of
old
parents
kid.
do that though. A lot of
They,
people, especially if they're hunters or something like that.
they do, but like he knew that his son was getting bullied at school.
He did, he
Yeah,
did,
the
and because
father.
he was reported at FBI, and they came out.
Yep, and that's where it's like that's. I'm not for
But
like
still, not murder though. It's not murder. It's something. It's something. But
manslaughter. He's getting charged with manslaughter. He's not getting charged with murder.
it's manslaughter.
Yep, he's getting charged with each count too. So each count, like so he's getting like 4 counts of manslaughter and 8 counts of cruelty to children or something
I
like that.
see. I don't like all of that. I don't like
He's
all of it because he didn't do nothing. He didn't control his kid that well, but it was his kid that did it. And it's like, oh, well, since your kid did it, it's your fault because you're the parent. But it's like that's a 14-year-old. Again, 14-year-olds are not stupid, man. Like these
they're
people,
not.
like
They're
they can
not.
figure something out. Now again, maybe he had no restrictions. Maybe it was just like his personal gun laying around. He knew it was his. Everybody knew it was his. He could go out and shoot whenever he wanted to. Yeah, that's negligent, especially given that you know that your son is questioned. But here's the thing: a lot of parents, and it's easy to judge from a distance, but a lot of parents have a wishful thinking that their kid is an angel or that their kid is good. Like they don't think their kid's gonna be the school shooter, right? Like that's not, you don't think that about your own kid. Now I'm the type I probably would. Not knock on wood.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I'm biased enough to know if something's wrong, and I'm not, sugarcoat my mind into some, wishful thinking belief that my kid's an angel. I'm not going to do that. But a lot of parents do that. Oh, my kid's an angel. He never. Oh, what? Yep. And then they, found out. you know.
Yeah, I'm not for it on principle. I'm not for it on principle. When I found out that the dad was being charged, I didn't like it, and I don't like it just on principle of free will. Like on my principle of free will, I don't believe that we have free will. I don't believe that the kid has a choice. I don't believe the parent has a choice. I don't think there's too much. I mean, there's not anything that a parent can really do to force that action upon the kid. Now, in this situation, only reason why like is there some sort of causal relationship, and then I would start to or negligence. Then I would start to be more understanding. In this situation, I think there is a little bit more of a causal relationship with his dad knowing the history of what's been happening to him at school, and then him going out and buying a gun for him to easily have access to, knowing that these situations have been happening. And it's just like, guys, you got a kid um,
I
who's
think it
just
was poor judgment for sure.
right, and
Poor
I think
judgment.
that's negligence. I think that's reasonable negligence, and I think
But it's not murder though. It
right,
is manslaughter. I mean, I guess it
right,
could be because manslaughter is unintentional.
right.
It's arguably manslaughter, but I don't like charging the dad for what the kid did. Um, but again, I don't look at quote unquote children the same way most people do. But again, he's being charged an adult, so wouldn't that set the dad free? I don't know.
Right, right.
But yeah, that is tricky. That's a tricky one there. But yeah, a lot of people though, they don't think their kids gonna do that. They really don't. They don't think their kids that bad, and then I think that's just part of the rose-colored glasses that a lot of parents see their children through.
Yeah, and it's just like, is it your fault if you birthed uh, Ted Bundy? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, or Dexter
or
from the TV show.
right, or Jeffrey Dahmer. It's just like, is that your fault? Like, is that something that you should be responsible for? And I think not.
No, it's not your fault. And then the only thing they can say is like the gun should have been locked down tighter.
Right.
But again, you a 14-year-old in the house trying to, have something that a 14-year-old can't get to. That's hard.
Right, that is.
Because 14-year-olds are smart, man. So
I agree with you.